Yeah, and we're live, and welcome back to another episode of the First Division podcast. And I think that we just heard from the president of the United States, Donald Trump, make a kind of a news conference trying to calm the nation down about the widespread or the outbreak of coronavirus in the U.S. and what do you think about that? First of all, what did you think about the news conference?
I don't know, man. I thought it was weird. Thought it was very weird, and sounds like it's just set up. It's just set up for. I'm thinking
What did you notice?
everybody. I don't know. What do you
What did
think?
you notice? What did you notice about the news conference that seemed a little bit off for you?
Just how it was like all planned together, and they're only in stage one. They're not even trying to get a vaccine first. It's more about testing people. What do you need to know? I don't know, dude, it's weird. What do you need to know if somebody has it or not? You need, because in that time of you knowing, more people are going to get it anyways. So what's that going to do? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I noticed a lot during the news conference. Many people spoke. Like I think there was I think they were the CEOs of the company. So there was like the CEO. I don't know who all the people were because I had my YouTube on mute and I was watching or I was listening through your microphone. I think there was the CEO of Walmart, CEO of Target, that lady from the health service, that short guy, and the guy from CVS, I think. And they were talking about exactly what you were talking about. They were talking about people getting tested, which is great. People should get tested, of course, but not once through that in during that whole conference, even in the when they opened up the questions to the media, not one person talked about what happens after the testing. So if you test
That's what I mean.
positive, what should you do? They didn't talk about that at all. It wasn't addressed.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what their fucking plan is, dude. Kind of
Yeah,
weird,
so
right?
like say you go the savior, right? The savior of Walmart, right? So you the big box store, right? So let's say you go to the parking lot, which I was really happy that Walmart was so kind to to freely donate their parking lots for people to come and get tested for coronavirus. Oh, that was such a generous offer. Well, anyway, so let's say you go, you get the test, you come back positive. What are they gonna do? There's like thousands of people waiting in the line to get tested. So you test positive, and so where do you go? Do you go to the hospital? Do you go home? Do you go to a doctor? I mean,
Dude, everything's every down. That's crazy.
it's crazy. Wow.
No, I'm saying like and so I'm reading something that says today I received information from Los Angeles Communications closing school from March 16th through the Needy Unified after school program. And then someone commented like, "We'll be drinking this week. I'll hit you up when I get off of work." Yeah, what the fuck? Typical ignorant fucking comment. Should be taking care. This is the time that it should really, if you're scared about it, you should really then get at least somewhat healthy and in shape. Or if you don't care either way, then fuck it. You know what I'm saying? If not, then
Right.
fucking take your chance out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree. I think if you're really nervous or really scared about it, which I mean, I understand why you would be nervous. Uh, I'm I am not nervous about it, but I'm not going to take unnecessary risks. So I mean, don't go to places where there's going to be a lot of contact, especially with people that you don't know, right? So when you go out in public, there's a lot of strangers, so you don't know where they've been. So why do you take that risk?
See, but you do that every day anyways before all this, and people probably had worse shit when I was traveling all the time. Dude, people are nasty, man, and so are those subways and all that shit. You don't know how many people go through that a day, the homeless, everything, carrying all kinds of shit. Like, it's your immune system. If you have a strong enough immune system, you're gonna be okay. That's why it's affecting the older people. Why is it just specifically affecting the older people? Because most of the older themselves, and then they specifically talked about that it's targeted their home. Those people are on their way out. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's gonna rip through that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well,
You there?
I mean that. Yeah, yeah. So we cut out for a little bit. I don't know why, but yeah, that's true. I mean, and what that guy was saying was kind of common sense. I mean, the older population, of course, they have a little bit weaker immune system, of course, depending on their conditions and things like that. But I mean, that was kind of that question that was posed by that journalist. I think that was the framing of that question was completely ridiculous. I mean, she could have answered that question herself. I mean, it was completely obvious what the answer was. And yeah, exactly. I think this is a good time for people to kind of, if they weren't taking care of themselves now, I think that this is a good lesson for people to kind of practice better hygiene. Anyway,
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.
I mean, you should have been doing that before, but if you're not doing that, I mean, you should be doing that now, I mean, and keep doing it into the future. So something like this, if there's something that's, you'll be, more prepared for it, I guess.
That's crazy, huh? That's crazy that it got to this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I think because I don't know what it is, because it's like it started from somewhere. They kind of pinpointed it, right? And then it kind of spread like in all these random places all over the place. It's really strange how it spread.
I blew out the portion of the media too.
So was it always here and then finally just, you know what I mean? Like it was, that's what's kind of mind-boggling, because it was like for example, in the US, right? They had that one case because I think it started in Oregon, because they were flying from China to back to Oregon. I think it's Oregon, or was Oregon. And then all of a sudden they have cases like in Nebraska with people with coronavirus. Well, what would it be doing in Nebraska? Do you know what I mean? Like, how would it get there?
Yeah, I don't know either. But it's probably all the people though that they missed that just be traveling back and forth.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. But I mean, do you know what I mean? Like if nobody from Nebraska travels, I mean, there was no reason for it to be there unless it was already there. I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. Strange.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
But
Dude,
it's good to take
everything's
precautionary measures.
Hey, when has it ever been like this? So that's crazy. When has it ever been like, it's like that over there too, but when has it ever been like everything's kind of closed? Like that means everybody's going to be kind of doing shit. Watch, this is going to be weird. I do this every day, so I'm not tripping.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, remember when that SARS came out, like in 2003, 2004? Remember that? SARS?
No, I never paid attention to any of that shit, bro. It never bothered me. I never got sick anyway, so I was always like, this shit's bullshit. Like, they believe too much in any of those viruses or whatever. Like,
yeah, well, no, I'm not going to argue with whether you believe in it or not. I'm just saying that SARS happened, I think, and they didn't even shut down everything like this massive shutdown, like now with this coronavirus.
The only thing I didn't like what they were saying though is like that's what makes it weird is like what they were saying is how they're going to implement new rules and bypass laws in order to do this and that. Like they didn't specify exactly what, they just said what they were doing. So I guess if you knew the laws, maybe you would know what they were breaking. But other than that,
yeah, it was kind of strange when they were saying like this is a unprecedented cooperation between the private sector and the public sector. and that this is like a inspiration for how the private sector and public sector, meaning the government, how they can work together. But I mean, that's nothing new. It's always been like when the industrialization period of the like around 1890 to 1915 in the US, there was always big companies and corporations working with the US government. I mean, it was a really strange statement from the vice president, Mike Pence, on that. I didn't really understand what he was talking about. Like, he said that this was like a first time thing happening. Like, what? Nobody pays attention to US history or US politics at all. It's strange.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, you watch more politics than me, so are you familiar with those guys?
Like the people that were speaking?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I didn't know who those people were. All I knew was Mike Pence and Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't know those other people.
Yeah, I think they were just
they're on his staff.
I don't know. I don't know if they were on his staff. Maybe. That lady was kind of silly, though.
She was silly. So was the short guy.
The short guy was kind of silly too. They were.
The
they should
down that every time.
They should build like a automatic moving podium so that if you're shorter or taller, it can adjust automatically for you.
That would have been funny though if there was a podium there that just moved over when he walked up.
They had like a remote control, and it was like, and it lowered specifically for him.
Walks up or whatever, just walks up the little steps up to get like perfect height. They don't even have to change it. That'd be
funny. They wouldn't show that on camera though.
That's an interesting point though. Why is Italy so bad? I wonder. You're over that way closer. What did they said?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think what happened. I don't want to speculate, but I think what happened was that somebody got this coronavirus in Italy, and they didn't know what it was, first of all. And then second of all, I think the Italian government, they let it go for too long. So they thought it was just something like a common cold or common flu or, something like that. And they just let it go, let it be. And then more and more, then it started to spread. And then I think at that point it just got worse. I don't know why specifically the northern part of Italy. I don't know why. That I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But
maybe
I don't know.
Tourists that go through northern Italy.
Well, especially for Czechs, because Czechs like to go there. Czech people like to go to the northern part of Italy for skiing. So
because it's close to Switzerland, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. It's like
Milan and all that up that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Or up north more.
So it's part of those Alps mountains, the Alp mountain range, and they like to go skiing there.
That makes sense then. So that would be then why there would be probably lots of travel to there.
Yeah, sure, of course. It makes sense. And it's closer, right? I mean, it's not that far away.
It's not.
Yeah. And the other part of the news conference that was kind of weird is like they didn't even allow the president to actually answer questions, because the questions started out like what is the time frame of people getting tested and how can they can receive treatment? And then they would say, like, in the same sentence, in the same question, man, they would say, like, okay, so after they get tested, so how are you going to, once they get tested, it was like this, it was like, once these people get tested, how are you going to bail out the cruise ship companies? And I was like, what does that have anything to do with that? What is having what does a cruise company have anything to do with this disease? That was
I think they're just worried about. I know, yeah. I think so too. Specifically, that as far as like the economy and the certain things that are affected, which as far as like travel, which would be, which most people would take. That's the only thing I can think of.
I agree. For
But
sure.
it's not that crazy of
That too, and I understand the question. I understood the question, but I think that those are two separate questions. She should have asked one question first, and the second question, and then the president can adequately respond to both those questions. I mean, that was weird. That was a silly question for me.
I agree with you.
And then the other thing about it was like, why did they even open up the press conference or the news conference up to the media? Why did they even allow those questions? See, they should have just made a statement. This is what we're going to do. And then just leave it, say, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And, good night and go home.
I don't know. Maybe they make it feel like the people need to be involved. Or maybe it makes you feel like you're involved, even though you're not really, because you're making decisions. So.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think that he also made a couple statements about how. I mean, I didn't feel a little bit more calmer when he said like, "Oh yeah," he said something like, "Of course, I'm paraphrasing for those who will be listening." Is like he said something like, "Yeah, it'll be better, but of course, maybe in 3 weeks it could get worse. It can get worse, but it'd be okay. I don't know if I'll get tested. Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know. I have no symptoms."
He also was saying that it could get worse in the future, not like as far as that, but different.
Is that what he meant by that?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. That's why I was like, what the fuck would you say that? Almost like implementing like there's going to be another one event.
So exactly. I didn't hear that part. But if he said that, that means that maybe there's a possibility that he knows some information that possibly something worse can be a bit like coming in the future. That's scary.
That just makes me think that they make that shit up. Like, they make it up so then all these people get sick, can't take care of themselves or don't take care of themselves, get sick, then they pay all this shit so then they can start doing whatever they want. It's kind of weird.
It is weird, especially when, like, for example, like he was
I had a feeling that was gonna happen.
Right, sorry. It'll probably happen.
What were you gonna say though? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say like I think the reason why I wanted to talk about it this news conference is I think it'll be a nice segue into the conversation that we can have. Do you want to have the conversation tomorrow about it? Are you free tomorrow?
Oh yeah, tomorrow's fine.
Yeah, I think this was a good conversation, a good starter conversation for the conversation with the Dr. Sebi videos and the health.
That's funny how it worked out like that.
Yeah, it was perfect for it, man. So I watched the videos. I didn't watch the hour and 20-minute long video. I didn't have a chance to, but I watched the two other videos that you watched that you sent me to watch. So, and a lot of what he said kind of makes sense, and I think it'll make for a good show. So,
a lot of people don't talk about it either. But as you get these out there or whatever, it'll be information that. Like some people know about it, but not a lot of people know about it like that. And then they don't know the truth. I know the truth because I've seen so many of the videos and then actually found out about his wife that he actually healed. All these people branched off after he died or when he did other things, So then there's so many other stores. So you really don't found the wife that runs the actual store. I might even get to work with them eventually. I talked to them, and then they said they're going to possibly offer that in the future. and I emailed her because I'm always interested. I've been interested in that forever. You kind of know that.
I know that, and that's how I was going to kind of frame the conversation tomorrow, because I know you're a big proponent of health and eating healthy, taking care of your body, making sure that you eat the right foods. I know you talk about eating electric foods, alkaline foods, and I know that like uh, see, because I was going to frame it in that everybody has their different uh, kind of interests. My interests are more history, politics, sport, and so on. So I'm not really, I'm interested in it, but I don't know that much about it. I have to learn it more to have a intellectual conversation about health and immunity and different types of foods. I don't know that much about it, and I'm willing to learn about it. So that's why I wanted to frame it as, I know that your main interest and your lifestyle is based around health. So I think it would be a great conversation to have. So I think it would be nice. So I want to dedicate a specific podcast about it.
The last thing I'll say, so we don't get too much into it, and say it for tomorrow, sure, is the one main thing that'll make you think is none of the stuff that you eat in the stores and stuff, like maybe
maybe like how much percent of food, and so yeah, I can imagine how I would think what he was talking about. I think he was talking about certain things about like different types of foods that are in the supermarkets. He was talking about types of foods and what are the ingredients of in some of the foods, and he was surprised. Before we wrap this up, is that he was talking about how certain foods, when he came to New York, I think it was New York in 1980s. He was talking about how like what people thought at that time was healthy. He already knew that it wasn't healthy, and so yeah, I would be real interested in getting to know more about it. So I think that we're gonna wrap it up for the podcast, and I'll catch you in another episode tomorrow. All right, peace.